If you're in the living room reading a book, the living room tends to disappear. But you are walking at the edge of the water. Move your screen up to the boathouse sign. Keep it in your vision. Okay, follow the camera east to your left. We'll start right here where we are. The river leads to Narragansett Bay, then onto the Atlantic Ocean. Take this sidewalk to the park entrance, then turn right onto the path. To get to the Pacific in 1876, where Anna is swimming, waiting, where the Panama Canal hasn't been carved into history yet, it takes over a month to get from this spot down the east coast of South America, and at last around the headland of Cape Horn at the tip of Chile. For now, just think of the ocean as one singular place, where Anna is diving, deeper and deeper until a small, sharp corner of fear starts a snag at her stomach, and she flips back toward the surface, exhaling steadily, letting her breath melt through the fear's tight heat sparkling between her blood and her skin. Pauline taught her how the acrobats pull their minds in sync with an exhale, moving thoughts from the jaw down, teeth unclenched, shoulders down, balls of her feet in line with, her toes pointed. After a minute floating on her back, she dives back down, tracking her depth with glimpses back to the spotlight shrinking on the surface. After 3 days spent rocking between seasick self-loathing and seasick boredom, Anna set out to explore every bit of ship outside her cabin. Head towards that bike rack. We'll get closer to the water from the pier. Earlier than any fisherman today, but someone is still there. Crossing paths with Fritz in a third obscure corner, Anastasia offered up a conspiratorial smirk. They were 5 days out when she had dodged the Dawn Guard stewards and slipped silently into the water while the ship was still sleeping. Underwater, she found the last moon's spotlight gliding along the surface over her head. It played barely their light as she moved, warping and waving with invisible, impossible geometry until, at some perfectly aligned angle, the giraffe at last slid into Anastasia's mind all in one image. Then blinked out of comprehension again just as quickly. The question of the giraffe had been bothering her since the two had crossed paths in San Francisco on the dock waiting to embark. Not one to swoon, Anastasia nonetheless felt a gentle tug in that direction when she met the giraffe, when she stretched her neck as far back as she could and found she was still unable to collect the whole animal in her mind's eye. She had tried instead to build an understanding piece by piece, starting with what she recognized. 4 hooves. Yes, of course, like any horse. The legs would have to be skipped for now. It was no use. They were mismatched and spindly, and their markings didn't seem attached. She kept catching them drifting in the corner of her eye. Its tail was thankfully spotless, and though its tufted end seemed a little more scraggly than she had somehow expected, it was recognizable. She jumped past the neck to its ears, which were sweet, friendly somehow. They sat on either side of somber, patient eyes with long lashes that convinced Anna she was meeting some kindred spirit. Landing on this characterization, the spots held steady and she could glide her sight smoothly down its confusing neck. Still, in Anna's mind, the different parts just wouldn't puzzle piece together. That morning, from underneath the water, she thought she had found it, and the relief buoyed her up, like skipping high after a stone. At last, leaves your shoe. When the sense of the creature came apart again, she felt the sense of her own self diluted somehow. The next morning, Anastasia tried again to sneak into the water before sun. 2 deckhands stopped her, and she tried pouting first, then demanded. She was a lady and could do as she pleased. Without needing to confer, they mimed vague misunderstanding. How much trouble did she hold in her small frame? The look on their faces was ice water on her conscience, but the apology glitched at her throat, sounding more like furious sputtering. They stayed until Anastasia turned awkwardly back to her cabin, telling herself it was smoother to drop the whole scene. She didn't swim again before Honolulu. And that night she dreamt in all blues, so waking pulled a plug on the whole ocean.